So recently, on the 13th of October, RPGFan released their own interview with the director of Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, Naoki Hamaguchi, and I was pretty busy at the time and have been for the following week. I'm just getting ready for a job interview and some other things going on in life that just happens to just pop up out of nowhere. But I'm going to sit down and read this interview and see what kind of new information we could glean, or maybe old information sprinkled in with some new stuff. So let's go ahead and take a read on this. As part of a recent Square Enix event where I played a demo of Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, I also had the honor to conduct an interview with the Rebirth director Naoki Hamaguchi. For those unfamiliar with Hamaguchi's work, he contributed to several Final Fantasy titles including 12 and Mobius. Recently, he was the co-director for Final Fantasy VII Remake, but now he's a sole director for Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. He graciously sat down for an interview to discuss the upcoming game. I'm excited to share what we discussed with everyone. Editor's note, there was some confusion with my first question, which worked out because I was going to ask about returning bosses and enemies in a follow-up along the same lines. Okay. So, first question is, what character, new or returning, was the hardest to get into Rebirth's combat system compared to the original game? Hamaguchi replied, pretty much all the monsters and bosses are carefully crafted. Interesting. We put effort into all of them. I would say the Materia Guardian in the demo you got to play, while it does seem kind of similar to the Guard Scorpion, they're very different. So we made sure the gameplay experience for defeating these enemies felt different, but very rewarding for an early boss fight. I mean, I guess I could see what the similarities would kind of be like in a Guard Scorpion versus a Materia Guardian. Although its movesets are kind of different. I wonder if it's going to have Trine like it did in the original. Regarding fitting the characters into Rebirth, we seriously considered each of their roles and wanted to keep that balance within the game, and we also considered the overall image the fans of the series may have towards the characters. So, there are appropriate expectations for these. These are the things we really took into consideration. For example, with Red 13, he's the kind of character that has a lot of close range attacks, but we also want to differentiate that from another character like Cloud, who can do the same thing. So Red 13 will have more of a timing-based attack based on his ability to guard. This leads to his revenge mode ability that's specific to him and makes him unique. As for Ket Chi, or Kate Sith, we can't go into a lot of details at this point, but we did see in the trailers him riding into battle on the Fat Moogle, which will come into play in battle. Whether he is riding the Moogle or not will make a difference in his playstyle during battle. His dice element will also be a part of his attacks. So in this way, we kind of kept the elements of the characters that the fans love while making them balanced with actions and battles. It's something we take great care in doing. So with one thing I want to talk about real quick is Red 13's having a more time-based attack. I wonder on his ability to guard as well. I wonder if that also plays into a factor where, like, if you attack and then you pause for like a quick second and then you attack again, if you have a slightly stronger version of that attack, or probably a higher crit % chance on that next attack, or if it just plays like a variant of the next attack with like extra hits or something. I wonder if it's just that, or if it's just you can guard faster in between attacks than you can with most other characters to help build his revenge guard. We'll see. Approximately how many minigames are displayed in the gold saucer? Oh boy. Do you have a favorite or one you're excited for players to finally get their hands on? I doubt. I'm gonna guess he might say Queen's Blood, but at the same time, saying that would probably mean that there's something extra hidden in Queen's Blood that might give away too much detail or speculation, so maybe something original. It could be the boxing or chocobo racing. Might be chocobo racing since that has to do with the story, like it did in the original. Well, hopefully it has something to do with the story in this one. For minigames, we have a few of them. Pretty much all of them, all from the original games, are going to be recreated for Rebirth. Nice. For example, with the Monkhouse minigame that used to be in the Gold Saucer, this is now moved to the world map, and we can experience the Mog House without being in the Gold Saucer. As for my favorite and one that I'm really excited for players to experience, I would say Chocobo Races, yeah. Which will tie into the main story as well, like all the side content in the game. Okay, so it does tie into the main story. Nice. The Chocobo Races are really well developed, and it's a mini game I can easily see the fans getting into because of all the aspects to it. To add to that, fans of the original games, or people who have played the original, have this image that the Gold Saucer was the place for minigames and the hub for those activities. This time around, there will be minigames within the Gold Saucer and some outside of it, scattered across the world. They can be uncovered by exploring certain locations or talking to certain characters. For example, the card game is played by characters worldwide. By continuing the journey and progressing the story, you will unlock new minigames and new opponents across the world. I think players will come out of it with the feeling of the entire world of Rebirth I think players will come out of it with the feeling that the entire world of Rebirth offers so much in terms of activities to enjoy. Okay. I did talk about Queen's Blood a little bit. And it does seem to be taking on the same kind of structural path as Triple Triad and 8, where like the more you progress the story, the more you can unlock the Queen of Hearts, the Queen of the Cards side story. In the trailers, we have seen the synergy team attacks. Will everybody have a team attack with every character, a la Chrono Trigger, or will it be limited to specific grouping of characters? I'm also interested in that. I'm also interested if they are going to do something as well as what Chrono Trigger does with certain team comps can do like triple synergy moves instead of just 2 members doing a synergy move. I wonder if you have let's say Barret, Tifa, and Cloud, if all 3 of them could do a synergy attack, kind of like how Chrono Trigger used to do it. I think that would be cool, but I wonder. Or something like maybe Red Barret and Cloud, or Cloud, Tifa, and Aerith. And there'll probably be some that don't have like that kind of mix up, like maybe Cloud, Aerith, and Red don't have something, or Cloud, Aerith, and Mog don't have something, or things like that, you know? So thank you for this great question. To answer it simply, all characters will have synergy attacks with every character pairing. Nice. Sort of the reason why we decided to do it is this way was to give players that freedom and fun of choosing through trial and error their favorite pairings or trying unique pairings that hadn't tried before. That's fair, because I remember in the original 7, I just stuck. Once I got out of Midgard, it was just Cloud, Tifa, Red. That was it. I just stuck with it. If we were to have it so that only specific characters are able to synergy attack, that would go against the idea of freedom and enjoyment of the player. We really wanted to keep that idea of freedom for the players, despite knowing that a lot of hard work and graphic resources went into making it this way. That's fair. And RPG fans, we appreciate that, and everyone laughs in the room. Hamaguchi, on top of this, each character is going to have their own skill tree in which one could develop and gain new synergy actions and abilities for their favorite characters. For players that really like Cloud and Aerith, they can focus entirely on them or any pairings. We just wanted to give the players choice and freedom to pick what they like the best or what they feel is the most suitable for defeating certain bosses or enemies. I think that would be a really fun experience. Interesting. Okay. In Remake, we saw the use of summons like Leviathan and Bahamut, who were not available at that point in the original game. So far, we have seen Alexander in trailers, a summon who, as far as we know, is from a part of the original that would not be explorable yet in Rebirth. So my question is, are we going to expect to see more summons from further in the story in Rebirth? And which summon is your favorite so far? Great question for this as well. I can't reveal exactly which summons are in Rebirth so far. Okay, that's fair. I would like to say that the summons are materia from the live stream in the original Final Fantasy VII, but outside of that, they didn't really go much into the background or how they came into existence. That's true. They just said that all materia is created from the live stream, and summons are technically a form of materia. But what about the entities inside the materia themselves? Like, how did they get into the materia? Where did they come from? How do they originate? I would like that to be touched up upon a bit more. I wonder if there's sort of like how 6 sort of did it with their technically like beasts in crystals. They put their cells or their powers inside that crystal that you can use for a summoner. That'd be interesting. I'd like to see where that if that gets touched up upon. So for Rebirth, we will explore a little bit more into that. Nice. For example, there are areas that will be tied into the summons, like an area where a specific summon was once revered or once existed. With Chadley, the player will be exploring some of these aspects and will be shedding a bit more light on that. So kind of like Final Fantasy VIII in a sense, where you could fight Odin in his tower, but you had a time limit. I think the time limit was like 30 minutes. But there was like a specific zone for that summon. So I wonder what Alexander's would be. If the Alexander has a specific zone, I wonder what his would be. You know? That'd be interesting. Would he technically be in the City of Ancients? Or would he be in the Ancient Temple? I'm looking forward to that. I'm very much looking forward to that. That'll be nice. As a follow-up to the summons question, are the summons going to interact differently this time around than in Remake? In Remake, you just summon them and they fight alongside you, but we saw in 16 how amazing and spectacular summons can really get. Do you have any plans to maybe change that system, or is it going to be the same that we saw in Remake? That's a good question too. I wonder if they'll decide to change it up or keep it the same. For Rebirth, there isn't something that is incorporating summons into the main story per se, but with Remake, you may recall that the materia itself did not exactly level up. That's true. This time, however, there's a growth element that is kind of different from AP. Ooh, so a specific materia growth element for summons only. By playing minigames or progressing through certain content in the story, the summon materia's ability will grow. So Mog House will have to do with Moogle summons and things like that, make them stronger. Okay. Maybe Chocobos as well. Chocobo racing will probably have something to do with Chocobo summoning as well. Interesting. I'm excited to see how that plays out. In that way, there is this sort of growth factor tied to that side of the content of the game. To the side content of the game. So I have a question for you. You know that in Final Fantasy VII, there are those weapon creatures. Of course, the weapons. If we were to introduce them like summons as another kind of entity-like creature, do you think that would be too much? I mean, in a sense, okay. In a sense, the weapons are technically summons. They are monsters kind of created and birthed by Gaia to protect Gaia. So, in a sense, the weapons are kind of already summon-like entities, but I think I understand what they're trying to say. They'd be like, if they kind of played like a summon-like entity, like you fight the weapons kind of like you fight the summons in Remake, to where you actually have to full-on fight them in some grand arena or something like that. Or maybe he's alluding to something else. Or would you enjoy it? I would actually kind of enjoy that. I think it would also, in a sense, it would also kind of go in depth a little bit more with the weapon story if they decided to make them like, yeah, if they were to introduce them as just like summons, but of an entirely different kind of entity, that would be pretty interesting. I'd like to see where that goes, and see if that kind of technically ties into how other summons came to be in materia form. I think that'd be very cool. Giant kaiju battles are awesome. Everyone lasts in the room. I actually enjoyed it in Final Fantasy XVI a lot. It was a lot of fun to do stuff like that, but who knows, whenever we get to fight the weapons, you know they're really big. Maybe we need big summons as well. More laughs. Maybe we're gonna be able to do, maybe it's gonna be like Pokemon battles, where you can like choose a summon to fight the weapons in like a big kaiju kind of battle. But each summon kind of plays differently and it changes the speed of the battle. Maybe. We'll see. We will take it into consideration. That'll be interesting. So final question, and maybe the most important. I'm a big fan of dressing characters up in games. Oh, I already know where this is going. I blame Ever Crisis. And I would like to know if there are cosmetics this time around. Yep. Maybe put Bear into a sailor suit and keep him in it the rest of the game, because I know he loves that suit in the original game. It'd be interesting to see if they actually do it. Personally, I don't. Well, there was Cloud in Costa del Sol where he was in this kind of casual wear and he had those shorts. So it's possible. It's very possible that that could be a thing. But do I think they do it for the entirety of the game, to where like you've unlocked this outfit, you can now wear it throughout the entirety of the game? Do I think they're gonna actually do that? No. As cool as it would be, I don't think they'll do that. I think certain areas, yes, they're gonna have different costumes. I.e. the ship on Junon Harbor going to Costa del Sol, and they're all wearing sailor outfits and things like that. And in Costa del Sol, they're in their bathing suits and their bikinis and things like that, or their summer kind of clothing, stuff like that. Other than that, for like certain situations like that, yeah, I think there's going to be costumes and things like that where you could probably, in those specific areas, you could change into throughout the rest of the game, like Ever Crisis does. I don't think so. It would be nice, but I don't think it's going to happen. That's a great question too, thank you. Throughout Rebirth, there are going to be occasions with optional or mandatory clothing changes. Yeah. These align with the circumstances of the story. As far as can they wear them constantly, we were careful to consider some of the serious moments where it may be more appropriate to not wear a costume to keep this scene impactful, being considerate so that players can have the best experience. I figured that was going to be the case. But also on one hand, yes, I understand where they're saying, but also on the other hand, you also have to consider it being, because it is optional for them to wear them constantly, that they should know that going into this game, continuing the full story experience with, I don't know, like Barrett or Red in a sailor outfit, or Cloud in his like freaking summer Costa del Sol getup, or Aerith and Tifa in a bikini or whatever like that, and it gets to serious moments, they just stand out. You kind of have to consider is like, you know, they know it's gonna happen, or they should realize it's going to happen because they're wearing them on purpose. But I can also understand them probably not making it a thing that they could constantly do because of impactful scenes. It'd be because like this, just like imagine Cloud in his Costa del Sol wear and Aerith and Tifa in their bikinis, and it kind of just takes the seriousness out of the scene. Which, if you don't know the scene, this is they're in Cosmo Canyon, and Bugenhagen is explaining how the life stream of the world works. So something that big and that critical, with them being in a weird jokish outfit, it kind of takes the seriousness away a lot. Thank you so much for your time. I'm looking forward to 7 Rebirth. I can't wait to play it. Thank you as well. I once again want to thank Naoki Hamaguchi for his time and thank all the wonderful staff at the event. I was already heavily looking forward to Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, and now my hype meter is at an 11. February can't come soon enough. I honestly, completely and utterly agree. I can't wait for this game. Oh, it's gonna be so fun. So that was all for the interview that they had. I'm looking forward to more news as we get closer and closer to the release date of 7 Rebirth. Hopefully we'll probably get some news, but in hopefully December or January. I'm hoping there will be a demo announcement. Nah, I can hold out hope. I know they had a demo for Remake. So hopefully there's going to be also a demo for Rebirth. But thank you all so much for watching. I hope you all have a fantastic rest of your day. I will see you in the next video. But until then, I hope you take care.